Forget about those for now. I just watched the most fucked up movie you could think of. Well, not really. The ending. Think of it like this. It's kind of like sleepover camp or sleepaway camp, where up to the end, it's just your mediocre kind of horror movie. With sleepaway camp, it's your mediocre kind of slasher, just people dying, and then the ending comes. Here, it's your mediocre psychological horror film, and then the ending happens. But unlike Sleepaway Camp, where the ending is sudden and it's quick and it ends so fast, with this movie, it's the last half hour at least. And what movie I'm talking about? I'm talking about Society. Now, a little context to why I watched this movie. Because, if you don't know about the movie, you don't really know, you don't really want to watch it. It's one of those things where I never heard that movie before. So where did I hear it from? Well, Dead Meat, here on YouTube. He did a kill count for Society. And, I guess he's talked about it in other kill counts, but he's never, talked about it. And he had to actually have a sponsor so we could show the kill count. Well, I don't show footage, so I'm going to talk about it. The ending is so fucked up, unbelievably fucked up. I don't want to wait to tell you about it, but I got to, because I got to explain the story like the usual story is. Guy named Billy, he's on a debate team, he's on a basketball team or some kind of sports team, I think. But he's on a debate team mostly, and he's got this girlfriend, and he's got this life with his parents and his sister, and all of a sudden they start acting a little bit different. His sister has this coming out party, something I don't know what it is, and he's approached by his sister's ex-boyfriend who has video recording of what went on at the coming out party, and it starts out as it's some sort of orgy, and then there's other sounds mixed in that confuses him. He starts to believe there's something going on, and he also believes that he might be adopted because he doesn't act like his rest of his family does. He's different from them. Billy Warlock plays Billy, and he does a terrific job. But I want to point out someone who probably doesn't get recognition he deserves, and that's Evan Richards. Who is that, you may ask? Well, Evan Richards played Bill S. President Esquire in the short-lived Bill and Ted live-action television series. He was also the voice of Bill in the second version of the animated series. And he's no Alex Winter, but he does an okay job with the character, better than the guy who played Ted. Here, I'm surprised that this guy hasn't done more acting, because his acting in this film is great. You could tell that he is this best friend who wants to look out for his best friend, and he will do anything for him. He follows, relentlessly, trying to help his friend, and in the end, he does save Billy from what's going on. We'll get to that. Oh, we'll get to it. So along the way, Billy ends up with, what's her name? I forgot her name. But ends up with another woman. And, but he had a girlfriend. The girlfriend breaks up with him. And I don't know if I remember seeing that she's actually part of this society. The word society is thrown around this entire film. And once we get to the climax of the film, we find out what this society actually is. But I don't remember seeing her there. Maybe she is. I don't know. But after he sleeps with the other girl, Corinne, I don't know her name, but after that, she breaks up with him, and he kind of starts to gravitate towards this other girl. And then he starts to investigate what's going on. After his sister's ex-boyfriend goes missing, goes dead. He's found dead at Then another another person he goes to school with, named, I can't remember the name, but he's played by Brian Brimmer. And He tells him to meet him somewhere, and when he gets there, he finds him dead with his throat slit. So he goes to the cops. He takes off, goes to the girl's house, tells her to call the cops. They get there, and it's a different car. The body's gone. But luckily, the best friend, played by Evan Richards, the best friend was there. He saw everything, how they came in and moved it and whatever. Billy has to confront his parents. He also has this shrink that he sees, and you start, at first watching this, I already knew it was going to happen, but even when I was watching the kill count, okay, so obviously the one you're going to trust is the therapist, because he's probably going to help. Well, then there's a scene where he takes the tape that the ex-boyfriend gave to him and brings it, and he tries to have the guy listen to it, but he doesn't have time to listen to it, and so he leaves it with his therapist. And the next morning, when he tries to show him, it's different. The audio is completely different, and so that's where he's in on it, and he's part of it. And they treat it as some big reveal, but like later, when the ending happens, they treat it as a big reveal that he was part of it. Well, it's just as soon, even if I hadn't seen the kill count, as soon as they showed that it was a different audio, you might say he's in on it. Or another way they could have played this was that it was all in his head. This whole conspiracy all in his head, and he's just losing it. I mean, after all, it does start with him talking to his therapist. Well, it kind of makes you think maybe it could have been in his head, but that's all thrown away with the ending, which, like I said, we'll get to. We'll get to it. So, that's about as silly as it gets towards the end. But, what is that? Like I said, so he starts to investigate what's going on. And eventually, I think he goes home and goes to his therapist, and he gets drugged by his therapist, and he wakes up, and he gets drugged, and they show him being carted out by paramedics. So the best friend runs to the hospital to find him, and they say that he's dead. Well, he ends up finding his friend eventually, and they get out of there, and he runs to the girl's house to confront her because he believes she's in on it, which she sort of is. She tells him, don't go home. He doesn't listen, so he goes home, and that's when the climax of the film starts. He goes home, he gets roped in one of those animal things, the pole with the little thing, and on the neck he gets roped in by that. They bring in the ex-boyfriend, and he is brought in. And then we get to what they call the shunting. How do I explain the shunting? Well, so they have he's basically the bully of the film. Hold down Billy. And then, the girl that he was with is forced to sit next to him. And he's forced to watch as all these people in this society, which it's revealed that they're not Billy's parents. He was adopted, and they've been kind of grooming him for years for this shunting. And, so he calls them aliens, but they're not aliens. They say, we're not aliens, we're just a different species. Better than your species. And then he just calls them alien scum again. Like, he said, we're not aliens, we've been here about as long as you, or whatever. He calls them aliens, whatever, I don't know, the aliens or whatever, but mutants of some sort. Because there's a scene earlier where he goes to get some suntan lotion from the bathroom, and he walks in, and his sister's in the shower, but you can see through that her tits and her ass are on the same side. And he's like, what? So he opens the thing and she's all normal. And then there's another scene after he has sex with the girl where she's twisted backwards. And like her legs are facing that way and she's facing this way. And it's twisted. But, So she's one of them. But we'll get to her because it kind of changes things. Meanwhile, the best friend and the mother of the girl she doesn't say a word, and she's kind of weird. And I don't know. They kind of leave her at the party. So I'm not sure what happened to that character. But the shunting. I kind of cutting around it because I need to figure out how to explain this. Well, they start to go into him. The ex-boyfriend, just digging into his skin and then going underneath his skin and just, or whatever, I don't know how to explain it, and if I tried to show you, I would get demonetized, so I can't show you, and it's hard to tell you, but it's just, they go inside him, and they fuse with him as they get, because the way they built it. This is directed by Brian Yuzna. Brian Yuzna, who's a body horror filmmaker. And Screaming Mad George, I think, did the special effects. And I think. Does it say anything? Dreamiac. I can't look at the information, but I'm pretty sure with Screaming Mad George, the effects in this film are amazing, and especially in this shunting scene where you have all these freaking naked, half-naked people, whatever, and they're all, attached to each other, connected, whatever, and during this, the girl, she lets Billy go, and Billy runs up the stairs, and he goes into another room where he's chased by his doctor, who now looks like the Joker with his smiley face, and then turns into a hand on his head, where his head's supposed to be, and then another hand comes out. Billy runs into a room where he finds where his supposed adopted family, where his mom is walking on her hands, and his sister's head pops out of her yoo-hoo. And then they play it into a joke to something from earlier where he confronts his parents and he says to his dad, "Fuck you, butthead." So the dad pops out of the bed and it's a legs and an ass with his head sticking out, and he goes, "I guess I really am a butthead." Just like, that's what. Just like, the fuck am I watching? It was up to this, it was mediocre but decent mediocre but decent psychological horror film, where if it ended with him ending up in a nut house because he lost his mind, because he had made all this up. Maybe he killed someone. Maybe, that would have been a decent twist where he went off, he killed that bully guy, right? Thinking that he had something to do with it because of he like fucked his sister or whatever. And maybe that could have been like a psychological type thing, but they totally flip it on its head with this shunting thing. And they recapture him, and they take him. It's his turn to be shunted, but the best friend shows up, and this all kind of wraps up very quick. Like he decides he wants to fight the bully guy, and if he wins, he's gonna be able to leave. The bully guy whips his ass. And then, as the bully guy's about to shunt, and this is where it gets a little more ridiculous, he like attaches his face to the guy's mouth, but as he's twisting, he goes to like go inside to shunt him, and he grabs the arm. Billy grabs the arm, twists it, and you can tell it's like rubber or whatever. Twists it, and his head pulls back, whatever, and he puts his hand right through like his stomach, I think, pops his eyeballs out, grabs a hold of his nose and eye hole, and pulls him through and rips him inside out. It's like worms and stuff there. And the best friend comes in, and he calls, the girl over, because the girl said earlier, "I love you." The girl is no longer one of them because she's fallen in love with Billy. And, the guy comes, he's dressed as a cop to sneak in. He's been watching this whole thing. He pops up, he says, "Come on," to the girl, I can't remember her name, and then to Billy, and they leave, and it all wraps up kind of quickly after this. They get in Billy's Jeep, they drive off. Well, the dad tries to stop him, but he punches them and calls him a butthead again, and then they take off, and it cuts back, and there's a joke, because earlier the governor, the mayor, whatever he is, I think he's the mayor, or the senator, whatever, the mayor, I think, he said that he wanted the bully guy to go with him to Washington, and the last line is a joke, because once he's dead now, he goes, "Well, doctor, looks like I'm going to need another candidate to come with me to Washington," and it ends. I'm just like, and on that, I said before I don't like sudden ending, and that's a real sudden ending, because did they get away? How many more people in the world are like these people? I don't think we ever got a sequel, but this movie is, an hour and 39 minutes. Fucked up. I was trying to find this, because I want to watch it, and I was going to order it off eBay, and I'm like, maybe I should try to find it somewhere else first, because what if I can't really judge by a kill count. I gotta watch the movie myself. What if I don't like it? Like Triangle. I ordered it before I watched it. And then I watched it free on YouTube. And now I wish I didn't order it. But it's in my collection. I may watch it again. Society, however, I looked on Vudu. Because Vudu, sometimes you can get some obscure horror movies for free. No. So I went to Tubi. That's another one. You can get some obscure horror movies for free. On Vudu, they wanted me to pay $2.99 to rent. I found it for free on Tubi with ads, and there really wasn't very many ads either. But it was glitching here and there, like the audio was sometimes out of sync with the way the lips were moving. But all in all, I really enjoyed the film. Like I said, Young Sung Hero, this is Evan Richards. He's the best friend. He's not the main character, but he gives it his all in this film. And like I said, the effects are great. The score and just the overall cinematography, absolutely great. Rating. You know what? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Because I really enjoyed this movie. And I am going to eventually order it off eBay. I can only find it on Blu-ray, and those are kind of expensive. It's an Arrow release, I think. But I'll eventually get it. So, yeah. So what are your thoughts on Society? Leave them in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you. And I will be going to Godzilla. I wanted to do this.